Hey guys, Dragonstar here. Welcome back to another video. Today I have the Archer flowchart, and the variations on it is not as difficult compared to some of the other ones. If you are planning to learn the Archer rush, in my opinion, there's not that many nuances you have to consider, but the ones you have to consider are given in this flowchart. I think most of the scenarios you can run into is going for 18 to 19 pop archers, and then based on what is happening in the game you can decide to what the follow-up will look like. So when do you go for castle edge, when do you go for skirmishes, and when do you go for scouts is going to be the biggest thing you have to watch out for. The big thing when playing archers is moving out with one archer and one spearman. Usually, that's the timing you want to actually move out with. If you're moving out really quickly, the other timing that you can work with is two archers and one spearman when applying pressure. This is the fastest timing with your starting scout and the archers you're going to be making, that you can go towards your enemy space. This is very important when playing archers, is because you want to make them panic against your archers. You want them to spend resources and walling or making skirmishers, making walls, trying to clean you up with their starting scouts or something. And that is usually the reasoning why you move out early when you make archers. So there are typical responses from your opponent. If the map is wallable, both of you will want to go for castle edge. If the map is not wallable, you'll consider these two feudal age options. If the map is wallable, you go to castle age, and based on his civilization and your civilization, you'll go for one of these three options, and also which opening he's doing. So if I am considering scouts into castle age for him, it will depend on what he actually ended up making in feudal age. So I see someone playing skirmishers after you play archers. So now both of you want to wall and go to castle edge. You never really want to play archers into scouts against this player who's playing skirmisher if the map is wallable. This is only when your opponent is playing scouts into skirmishers, because you make him invest into 350 resources in on word to make two different production buildings, which if he should not be able to get the value out of based on how you wall up your base. So against someone who's playing skirmishes against your straight archers, I highly recommend just going up to castle edge if your map is not wallable. If your uh, if your map is wallable, sorry, if your map is not wallable, go for scouts. But this is the scenario. If he's playing skirmishers, go for mangonels. If he's playing archers himself, go for ballistics. If he's playing skirmishers and he's harassing your wood line or something, you play archers, he plays skirmishers, and he's out on the map for too long. When you're getting close to going up to the next stage, like let's say you're 70-80% up, you can consider dropping a stable at that 70-80% up to the castle age mark and making a couple of scouts on the way up, or adding knights on the way up, depending on how fast he runs away from your base when he realizes what you're up to. You can sometimes clean their skirmishers before they realize that they have to run away. So I like adding stable in scenarios where they stick around with the skirmishes on the map for too long. So the next opening will be skirmishes of your own. This is when you actually cannot wall up. If you see them playing skirmishers when you play archers, you have to actually make your own skirmishers, just because if you do not make skirms of your own, they can overwhelm you by making skirmishes. You'll be behind in numbers, but you're going to be playing defensively, and your economy is set up a little bit more for castle age. And skirmisher war, depending on the situation, will be different based on what your opponent is doing. If he's playing archers himself, you can consider switching it to skirmishes if the map is open. If the map is wallable, you both go for castle age. And then the elite skirmisher rules from my previous two flowcharts of mana terms and those things will apply. You go to castle age, and then all the rules from the elite skirmisher video apply on this scenario. That's not something I'm going to be going over by in that detail because I already went over it in the previous video. And the last variation is going to be scouts and archers. Archers into scouts is the most popular one when the map is open. You want to go for a scout switch as fast as possible, because usually your opponents are also going for skirmisher switch as fast as they can. So if somebody opens scouts against your archers, you make two archers, one spearman, move out to their base, make another spearman to defend yourself. So at this point, you have made two spearmen and two archers, and third archer is also going to be invested into defending yourself. And make two farms, then drop a stable and start making scouts and run away with these two archers and spearmen after doing a light harassment next to his base. Try to preserve your numbers, and your army scales better than the player who's playing Scout Skirmisher. Scout Skirmisher player will be able to mass his units much faster, but the longer you're able to keep your army alive, your army scales better than the player who's playing Scout Skirmisher. That's why you want to play archers into scouts, which will beat the player who's playing Scout Skirms. If the map is really wallable, uh, you go for castle age and then try to play light cavalry plus crossbow against playing someone playing skirmishers. You can definitely punish it by going for this. And if they are open and they are also investing into lots of military, I would consider going for bloodlines and play fletching bloodlines, make lots of scouts, make lots of archers, and try to finish the game in feudal age or get a big advantage by doing a lot of damage after cleaning their army. You'll realize more often you play this scenario that someone who's playing scout archer will almost always just win against someone playing scout skirmishes. It comes down to micro, but the DPS for the archer is just higher against the scouts in the front line, so your front line will kill their front line faster. And even if he dives for your archers, if his scouts die, his entire army gets cleaned up. So you want to be avoiding the skirmisher fire from your archers, running away, doing chip damage to their scouts, and then jumping on his army when you feel like you have the hit point lead over his units. And those are the three basic scenarios for the archer variation. Hopefully this helps you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.